Chapter 26, First Match. Overlord, the Multiverse by Black_Bolt. 1.8K 572. As I vanished from the Coliseum, I found myself in a room straight out of a medieval fantasy novel, long, poorly lit corridor, high ceiling, and shadows dancing around like they were auditioning for a spooky ballet. There were these gay things, all portcullis-like, crackling with this intense white light that made me wonder if I'd stumbled into a medieval rave party by mistake. And let me tell you, the torches lining the corridor were doing their best impression of setting the mood for some epic showdown. In the midst of all this, I couldn't help but marvel at the level of detail. I mean, talk about attention to detail, these developers went all out, even down to the flickering torches. I half expected to see a quest giver pop out from behind a corner, offering me a side mission to rescue a virtual damsel in distress. Impressive, they really went all out on this, I muttered to myself, feeling like I'd just stepped onto the set of a blockbuster movie. And as I approached the gate, it shot up faster than a cat hearing the can opener. Talk about dramatic entrance. Stepping into the arena, I was greeted by a sea of eager spectators, all waiting to see what kind of virtual mayhem was about to go down. The challengers have arrived, boomed the well-dressed man, his voice echoing through the arena like a dramatic movie announcer. Seriously, could he be any more extra with that floating rod thing? The challengers have arrived at the arena in their pursuit of the title of World Champion of Helheim. To my left is the Demon King Eros, as the challenger from Muspelheim. Ah, Demon King Eros, the guy who couldn't make it to his own party and had to crash ours instead. Classic. And to my right is the one, the only, the legendary vampire, Alexander Sedgictus von Mortis, as the challenger from Helheim. I couldn't help but grin at the over-the-top introduction. I mean, who needs fireworks when you've got an announcer like this guy? Not to sound narcissistic, but I am famous in Yggdrasil. The crowd goes wild for Alexander Sedgictus von Mortis. I mentally pat myself on the back for maintaining my cool demeanor amidst the roaring applause. Being famous in Yggdrasil does have its perks after all. If the participants have anything to say to each other, then now is the time, the announcer's voice echoes through the arena. As Demon King Eros and I stand facing each other in the arena, I can't help but feel a mix of nerves and excitement coursing through my veins. On one hand, I'm the strongest player in the game and officially, of course, so I don't need to be nervous. But on the other hand, this demon dude looks pretty intimidating with all that armor and his towering presence. But hey, I've faced scarier things before, like the time I accidentally wandered into a werewolf den during a full moon. Let's just say that didn't end well for me, but I digress. With a confident smirk, I give Demon King Eros a casual wave, as if to say, nice armor, but let's see what you've got. The anticipation in the air is electric as the crowd waits for the clash to begin. Seriously, it's like waiting for the next season of your favorite binge-worthy series to drop on Netflix, you just can't wait to see what happens next. And as the announcer's voice fades into the background, all that's left is the thrill of the competition and the promise of victory. But before things get too serious, I can't help but crack a joke to lighten the mood. Hey, Demon King Eros, is that armor standard issue or did you have the special order it from the intimidating Demon Emporium? I quip, earning a few chuckles from the crowd. I mean, seriously, where does one even shop for demon-sized armor anyway? Maybe they have a demonic version of Amazon Prime. Demon King Eros glances at me with a menacing grin, his eyes glinting with a hint of amusement. Ah, Alexander Sedgictus von Mortis, I see your wit is as sharp as your sword, he replies, his voice deep and resonant. But let's save the banter for after I've wiped the floor with you. I chuckle in response, feeling a surge of adrenaline at the challenge. Oh, I'm counting on it, I retort, flashing him a cocky grin. But don't get too comfortable in that armor, I've got a few tricks up my sleeve. With that, the buzzer sounds, signaling the start of the match. As the crowd roars with anticipation. But I didn't give the crowd what they wanted, instead, I activated my Blood Monarch ability. Sorry, buddy, I murmur under my breath, my voice dripping with smug satisfaction. But it looks like he'll be calling the shots from here on out. With a wave of my hand, I command Demon King Eros to stand down, his sword clattering to the ground as he obeys my every word. How? He demands, his voice tinged with disbelief. I have protection against mind control. I chuckle, feeling a surge of satisfaction at my victory. Maybe because your protection isn't up to par with my ability, I reply, unable to resist a smug grin. Kill yourself, I commanded. No, don't, he gasps, his voice choked with desperation. But it's too late, my Blood Monarch ability holds him in its grip, bending his avatar to my command. With a final, defeated sigh, Demon King Eros raises his sword to his throat. The crowd watches in stunned silence as he hesitates for a moment, then plunges the blade into his own avatar. The winner of the first match is Alexander Sedgictus von Mortis. As they say, we can indeed judge a book by its cover, the anchor's booming voice reverberates through the arena, met with thunderous applause from the crowd. Suddenly, I'm teleported back to the Coliseum, where I previously stood. Glancing at the system interface, I see that a 10-minute timer has appeared, ticking down the moments until my next match. It's time to prepare for round 2 and show the world what I'm made of. Tilde. Give me your opinion and criticism about the chapter. I can only improve my story if you point out what is wrong and what is needed to change. Chapter 27, King D. Kingson. Overlord, the Multiverse by Black_Bolt. 1.7K 665. After my first glorious victory, I found myself thrown into a whirlwind of battles with a motley crew of opponents. From the oddball demi-humans to the downright bizarre heteromorphic players, I felt like I was living in a fantasy version of a zoo. But let me tell you, facing off against some of these humanoid players was like taking candy from a baby, well, a very determined, sword-wielding baby. Sure, they put up a decent fight, but compared to my daily routine of hunting down monsters and PKERs, it was like playing a game of tag with a bunch of toddlers. As for the demi-humans, there were a few that caught my eye. 2 minotaurs, a troll, and a female wolfkin stood out among the rest. The minotaurs, brute strength, the troll's regenerative abilities, and the wolfkin's agility were impressive to say the least. But let me tell you about that wolfkin. She had charm stats that could make even the most stoic warrior weak in the knees. For a moment, I was completely entranced, lost in her mesmerizing gaze. Until she opened her mouth and out came a deep, booming male voice. Talk about a plot twist. I went from being charmed to feeling downright bamboozled in a matter of seconds. I'll admit, I may have lost my cool a bit. Okay, who am I kidding? I went full berserk mode. Imagine me, the mighty Alexander, swinging my sword wildly while shouting, who's the wise guy behind this voice-changing nonsense? Spoiler alert, I never got an answer. In the end, it was one of the shortest fights of the championship match. But let me tell you, it left a lasting impression. Lesson learned, in the world of Yggdrasil, never judge a book by its cover. Or its voice, for that matter. Ah, the battles against the heteromorphic players. Now those were a mixed bag of tricks, let me tell you. Some of them were about as tough as a marshmallow, while others had me sweating like a pig in a sauna. But let's get one thing straight, I didn't take any of them lightly. Nope, not for 1 second. From the get-go, I could see that these guys meant business. They were decked out in gear that ranged from legendary to divine class items, like they were gearing up for a cosplay convention on steroids. Now, did I have a bit of an advantage? Maybe. Okay, fine, I'll admit it. I wasn't exactly sporting my top-graded equipment, and I wasn't even tapping into my full potential as a vampire god. But even without all the bells and whistles, I held my own against the best of them. Sure, I took a few hits here and there as I danced through the ranks of Helheim, but did it bother me? Not in the slightest. My HP replenished faster than a bottomless mug of ale at a dwarven tavern. I could practically hear my health bar chuckling to itself as it bounced back from every blow. But hey, no harm, no foul, right? That's the beauty of the tournament format. Once we all shuffled back to the Coliseum after our little skirmishes, it was like hitting the reset button. All the HP and MP that had taken a beating during the fights magically restored to their original levels, like we'd never even thrown a punch. So, did I come out of those battles unscathed? Not exactly, but did I let a few bumps and bruises slow me down? Hell no. As I blazed through the rounds in the Coliseum, my victories seemed to come faster than a gnome chasing after a dropped gold coin. With each win, my name climbed higher and higher, plastered across the arena walls like a neon sign in a dark alley. But I wasn't the only one making waves. Oh no, there were plenty of other players making a name for themselves too. Well, until they met me in the ring, that is. As the competition heated up, the number of participants started to dwindle faster than a stack of gold in a dragon's hoard. It was like a game of musical chairs, only instead of chairs, it was fighters, and instead of music, it was the sound of swords clashing. And then, in the blink of an eye, there were only 2 names left standing at the top of the Helheim North Coliseum leaderboard, mine, Alexander Cedricus von Mortis, and King Dickinson. Now, I don't know about you, but that name, it sounded more like something you'd find in AR-rated Hentel than a serious contender in a world championship. But hey, who am I to judge? After all, stranger things have happened in Yggdrasil, and besides, a little laughter never hurts anyone. Looks like it's time for the quarterfinals, and I've got my sights set on victory. After all, a champion's got to do what a champion's got to do, right? Tilde tilde tilde. Give me your opinion and criticism about the chapter. I can only improve my story if you point out what is wrong and what is needed to change. And leave at least one comment and review if you like my fanfic. In my Patreon this volume is over, you can join my Patreon for 3. Chapter 28, King Dickinson 1. Overlord, the Multiverse by Black_Bolt. 1.7K366. As always, I found myself teleporting to the walkway that led to the arena, the familiar sights and sounds of the tournament surrounding me. The anchor's booming voice filled the air, announcing the arrival of the next challengers with his trademark enthusiasm. On my left is the vampire, Alexander Cedricus von Mortis, as challenger, who has presented us with a unique way of fighting with only his speech. The anchor's words washed over me as I made my way towards the gate, my anticipation building with each step. On my right is the human, King Dickinson, as challenger, whose magic prowess and brawn have made him a force to be reckoned with. The anchor continued, drawing attention to my opponent. As the announcer described him, I couldn't help but size him up, taking note of his lean build and impressive armor as he entered the arena. Instead of a typical weapon, he sported a pair of formidable gauntlets on each hand, a testament to his prowess in hand-to-hand combat. As both contestants are here, ladies and gentlemen, the quarterfinal battle is starting, the anchor announced, his voice carrying over the roaring crowd. The winner will be able to enter the semifinal to compete against the winner from another coliseum. Are you ready? Yes, the crowd erupted in response, their enthusiasm fueling the intensity of the moment. With a determined nod, I met King Dickinson's gaze, a silent acknowledgement of the challenge that lay before us. The stakes were high, and the pressure was on, but the only thing that refused to make me serious was his name, King Dickinson. I mean, seriously, who names themselves that? As the countdown began, I focused my thoughts, mentally preparing myself for the battle ahead. I knew that I would be victorious, but I was ready to give it everything I had. With the final seconds ticking away, the tension in the air reached its peak. The time for talk was over, now it was time to let our actions speak for us. Then battle begins, boomed the anchor's voice. With a surge of confidence, I activated my Blood Monarch ability, ready to take control of the situation. But to my surprise, King Dickinson lunged at me with lightning speed, his fists aimed like a pair of speeding bullets. With quick reflexes, I raised my sword just in time to block his rapid-fire punches, the force of each blow reverberating through my arms. Nice speed, I quipped, impressed by his agility, as I countered with a swift attack of my own. While it's not my first time seeing someone bypass my Blood Monarch ability in the World Championship, but it's definitely a rarity. Our weapons clashed in a deadlock, the sheer force of our blows sending shockwaves rippling through the air. With a quick kick, we broke apart, both of us eyeing each other warily as we sized up our next moves. Seizing the opportunity, I cast a spell in his direction, hoping to catch him off guard. But to my surprise, King Dickinson intercepted the spell with a powerful punch, shattering it into nothingness. I frowned slightly, realizing that my magic alone wouldn't be enough to bring him down. But no matter, I had other tricks up my sleeve. Just as I prepared to launch my next attack, King Dickinson vanished from sight, his presence disappearing like smoke in the wind. Before I could even say, abracadabra, a kick the size of a wrecking ball came barreling towards me like a runaway train. Ducking and weaving, I narrowly avoided the blow, feeling the rush of air as it whizzed past my ear. Not bad. King Dickinson quickly recoiled, realizing his surprise attack had failed spectacularly. But hey, points for effort, right? You know, I watched your whole match till now. D. Kingston said. As King D. Kingston's words echoed through the arena, I couldn't help but raise an eyebrow. Oh really? I replied, well, I hope you were taking notes. You might learn a thing or two. D. Kingston chuckled, a smug smirk playing on his lips. Oh, I did more than just watch, my friend, he said, his voice dripping with confidence. I studied your every move, your every tactic. And let me tell you, I've seen better. I resisted the urge to roll my eyes. Is that so? I retorted, keeping my expression neutral. Well, I hate to break it to you, but I've got a few tricks up my sleeve that you haven't seen yet. D. Kingston laughed, the sound grating on my nerves. Oh, I'm sure you do, he said, his tone mocking. But let's be real here, you're out of your league. You may have made it this far, but you're no match for me. I don't know how you killed 2 world enemies in the past year, but from my observation, you're nothing but a weakling who relies too much on your fancy abilities. I chuckled, rolling my eyes at his bravado. Ah, so you've been doing your homework, huh? I replied, feigning nonchalance. Well, don't believe everything you read. As for those fancy abilities, let's just say I like to keep things interesting. Despite his attempts to undermine my confidence, I remained unfazed. After all, I've faced tougher opponents than D. Kingston, and come out on top. Guess we'll just have to see who comes out on top, won't we? I said, flashing him a smirk. But hey, thanks for the pep talk. It's been real inspiring. With a dismissive wave of his hand, D. Kingston stepped back into a defensive stance, his eyes gleaming with confidence. Bring it on, Alexander, he taunted, a wicked grin spreading across his face. I'm ready for anything you've got. I couldn't help but smirk at his bravado. Oh, I doubt that, I replied, but hey, if you insist on being schooled, who am I to refuse? With a flick of my wrist, I activated my Blood Monarch ability once again, but this time, I didn't use it to control D. Kingston. Instead, I focused on manipulating the blood coursing through my veins, channeling its power in a way that would make even the most seasoned warrior think twice. You asked how I defeated 2 world enemies using my fancy tricks, I said, my voice laced with amusement. Well, prepare to find out. Tilde. Give me your opinion and criticism about the chapter. I can only improve my story if you point out what is wrong and what is needed to change. And leave at least 1 comment and review if you like my fanfic. In my Patreon this volume is over, you can join my Patreon for $3, see you. 100 plus advanced chapters posted, you won't regret joining. All the images can only seen in my Patreon as I can't upload it in Scribble Hub. In my Patreon. Chapter 29, Warrior Takemikazuki. Overlord, the Multiverse by Black_Bolt. 1.7K566. As D. Kingston's taunts echoed in the arena, I couldn't help but roll my eyes. Talk about all bark and no bite. With a smirk, I activated my Blood Monarch ability, but this time, instead of controlling him, I unleashed a torrent of blood magic that left him reeling. In the blink of an eye, the tables turned, and D. Kingston found himself on the receiving end of my wrath. With lightning-fast precision, I dodged his attacks and countered with a barrage of spells that left him staggering. Before he knew what hit him, D. Kingston was lying on the ground, defeated and humiliated. As he groaned, I couldn't resist a chuckle. Looks like you spoke too soon, buddy, I quipped, standing over him victorious. With a flick of my wrist, I summoned a premium coffin to send him off in style. After all, even losers deserve a proper send-off. As the dust settled and the crowd erupted into cheers, I basked in the glory of my victory. The anchor's voice boomed over the speakers, announcing my triumph to the world. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner, he declared, his words reverberating throughout the stadium. Alexander Cedrictus von Mortis has emerged victorious, securing his place in the semifinals. As the cheers reached a crescendo, I couldn't help but feel a swell of pride. All those hours of training and preparation had finally paid off, and now I was one step closer to claiming the title of world champion. Congratulations, you are the winner for the North Coliseum. You will now move up for the semifinals. In the semifinals, I faced off against a formidable opponent, a female giantess. Despite her towering stature and imposing presence, the match turned out to be surprisingly straightforward. We throw punch at each other until I won. With the semifinals behind me, I knew that the final battle awaited. As I teleported to the walkway leading to the arena, the familiar sound of the anchor's booming voice filled the air. It was a sound I had grown accustomed to over the course of the championship. But this time, something felt different. As I made my way through the passage to the arena, I couldn't help but notice the grandeur of the surroundings. The passage was massive, large enough to accommodate even the mightiest of creatures. It was as if the architects had designed it with dragons in mind, allowing ample space for them to walk with ease. The sheer scale of the passage filled me with a sense of awe and anticipation. This wasn't just any arena, it was the biggest Coliseum in Helheim, and the magnitude of the moment was not lost on me. On my left is the reigning overlord of the North Coliseum, Alexander Cedrictus von Mortis, as challenger, known for his iron-fisted rule over his domain, the anchor announced as I made my entrance into the arena. On my right is the formidable Nephilim of the West Coliseum, the embodiment of warrior spirit, Warrior Takemikazuki, who has dominated the arena with his unparalleled sword skills. The anchor continued, introducing my opponent. Now, it's my time to surprise, Warrior Takemikazuki, one of the original founding member of Ainzul Gown, the creator of Kokaitis. Warrior Takemikazuki stood tall and imposing in his dark red samurai armor, his horned helmet reminiscent of the legendary Date Masamune. Armed with a katana that matched the ferocity of his appearance, he exuded an aura of strength and determination. Pick. Throughout the quarterfinals, I had the opportunity to witness the matches held in the North Coliseum, but unfortunately, I missed out on the action from the other Coliseums in Helheim. So I didn't notice Warrior Takemikazuki until now. Now, as I stood face to face with Warrior Takemikazuki, I realized that today was indeed my lucky day. As both contestants are here and this is the final battle, the anchor's voice boomed. If both contestants have anything to say to each other, now's the time. I met Warrior Takemikazuki's gaze, a confident smile playing on my lips. Well, Warrior Takemikazuki, it looks like it's just you and me. Yeah, he replied with a nod. Just you and me, a warrior facing another. I couldn't help but chuckle at his straightforward response. A warrior facing another, huh? I repeated, nodding in agreement. Sounds like the title of a bad action movie. Warrior Takemikazuki raised an eyebrow, a faint smile quirking the corners of his lips. Maybe so, he conceded. But I assure you, the battle that's about to unfold will be anything but. I grinned, feeling the tension in the air dissipate ever so slightly. Well then, let's make it a blockbuster, our battle will be legendary. I declared, extending my hand in a mock handshake. Warrior Takemikazuki chuckled, accepting the gesture. Agreed, he said firmly. May the best warrior win. Now that both participants have exchanged their pleasantries, the anchor interjected, let the final battle commence. With a roar from the crowd, the atmosphere crackled with anticipation as Warrior Takemikazuki and I prepared to face off in the ultimate showdown. As the countdown began, my focus narrowed, my senses heightened. This was it, the moment I had trained for, fought for, dreamed of. With every fiber of my being, I was ready to give it my all and emerge victorious. I will be world champion of Helheim. As the final seconds tick away, I locked eyes with Warrior Takemikazuki one last time, a silent acknowledgement passing between us. Then, with a surge of adrenaline, the battle began, and the arena erupted into chaos. Tilde. Give me your opinion and criticism about the chapter. I can only improve my story if you point out what is wrong and what is needed to change. And leave at least one comment and review if you like my fanfic. In my Patreon this volume is over, you can join my Patreon for $3, see you. 100 plus advanced chapters posted, you won't regret joining. All the images can only seen in my Patreon as I can't upload it in Scribble Hub. In my Patreon this volume is over and MC is Chapter 30, Warrior Takemikazu. Overlord, the Multiverse by Black_Bolt. 1.7K469. As the round kicked off, it was like a scene straight out of a cheesy action movie, two warriors, swords raised high, ready to clash in an epic showdown. I couldn't help but wonder if there was popcorn being sold in the stands. With all the bravado of a hero charging into battle, I swung my sword down with all the force I could muster, aiming for glory and victory. But instead of a dramatic clash of steel, all I got was a resounding clunk as my blade met Takemikazuki's, like two pots banging together in a kitchen mishap. Takemikazuki's expression was the epitome of seriousness, as if he was starring in his own personal samurai epic. Meanwhile, I felt like I was playing the role of the clumsy sidekick who always manages to trip over their own feet. As we struggled against each other, I couldn't help but wonder if this was what it felt like to be in a medieval-themed sitcom. I half expected a laugh track to start playing every time one of us stumbled or missed a swing. But despite the absurdity of it all, there was no denying the adrenaline rush of battle, the thrill of facing off against a worthy opponent. And hey, if nothing else, at least I was getting my daily cardio in. As we broke apart, I quickly conjured a spell, sending it hurtling towards Takemikazuki with all the force I could muster. But like a seasoned swordsman, he effortlessly slashed through the incoming magic, his blade slicing through the air with precision. Undeterred, I prepared to launch another attack, only to find Takemikazuki had vanished from sight, leaving me momentarily disoriented. Before I could react, a heavy kick came hurtling towards me from the right, but with a deft sidestep, I managed to evade it just in time. The dance of combat continued, each move met with a swift counter, like a well-rehearsed routine. Takemikazuki's skill with a blade was unmatched, his movements fluid and precise, while I relied on a combination of magic and martial prowess to keep up. It was a battle of contrasting styles, the disciplined technique of a seasoned warrior versus the unpredictable nature of a spellcaster. And yet, despite our differences, we were evenly matched, or more like I made it match by putting some restriction on myself. Because I want to fight Takemikazuki as a warrior of equal standing and not crush him under the power of my abilities, which I gained by killing two world enemies. It wasn't the first time I had done so. Whenever I encountered a player who relied solely on their own skills and abilities, not game skills and ability rather than those obtained through the cash shop, I made a conscious decision to limit my own power in order to ensure a fair fight. For me, the thrill of battle lay not in overpowering my opponents with my superior abilities, but in testing my skills against theirs on equal footing. It was a matter of honor and respect, a recognition of the dedication and effort they had put into honing their craft. And as we clashed swords and exchanged spells, it became clear that my decision had paid off. Takemikazuki fought with all the ferocity and skill of a true warrior, pushing me to my limits with every strike and parry. And though I could have easily overwhelmed him with my superior abilities, I chose instead to meet him blade for blade, spell for spell, in a battle that would be remembered for its intensity and camaraderie. In the end, it wasn't about emerging victorious or proving my superiority, it was about the thrill of the fight, the rush of adrenaline as two warriors clashed in a battle of wits and strength. And as the final blow landed and Takemikazuki fell to the ground, defeated but not broken, I knew that I had achieved my goal, to honor the spirit of competition and forge a bond of mutual respect with a worthy adversary. As Takemikazuki vanished away, I received a system notification. Congratulations, you have won the World Championship of Helheim. Ladies and gentlemen, we have our winner, the illustrious Alexander Segictus von Mortis. The anchor's voice reverberated through the arena, electrifying the crowd with excitement. In a battle that will be remembered for ages to come, our champion has emerged victorious, proving once again why he reigns supreme in the Helheim. The audience erupted into thunderous applause, their cheers echoing off the walls of the arena. Fireworks lit up the sky, painting the night with bursts of dazzling colors as the celebration began in earnest. But let us not forget the valiant efforts of our runner-up, Warrior Takemikazuki, the anchor continued, his voice carrying a note of respect. He fought with courage and honor, showcasing the true spirit of a warrior. Let's give him a round of applause for his outstanding performance. In the virtual world of Yggdrasil, there's a special place called the Administrator Platform. It's off limits to regular players and can only be accessed with permission from the game's administrators. This platform doesn't have a clear purpose most of the time, but during the World Championship event, it's used. After the tournament ends, the winners, 9 players, are taken there. They're given the title of World Champion, and a special item as rewards for their victory. Because the tournament prizes are unique, the administrators need to meet each winner personally to give them their rewards. So, the champions are taken to the Administrator Platform right after they win the final round of the tournament. And I was an Administrator Platform waiting for my turn. While listening to the song, Pussy, Come and Go. Tilde. Leave at least one comment and review if you like my fanfic. You can join my Patreon for $3. Around 100k words ADV Nace chapter in my Patreon. Support me. Patreon.com/blackbolt517. It will be big help if you can support me.